This is unprecedented, and it's wrong.
Tonight on Cronkite News, Arizona Democrats join Adelita Grijalva outside the U.S. Capitol. They're blaming Speaker of the House Mike Johnson for delays surrounding her swearing in.
And plus, utility bills could be increasing for many people across the state. Find out who could be affected and how much more they might have to pay.
And it was a wet and rainy night in Salt Lake City. How the Sun Devils fared in their high-stakes matchup with the Utah Utes. Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News. I'm Emily Fox-Millian.
I'm Aiden Blank. Thanks for joining us. It's been 22 days since Adelita Grijalva won the special election to represent District 7, but House Speaker Mike Johnson has still not sworn her in.
That's right, Aiden. Now Grijalva and her fellow Arizona lawmakers are demanding answers for the delay. They spoke today from Washington.
I stand before you as a duly elected representative from Arizona's 7th Congressional District. So we're looking at every possible legal option that we have. And I'm very appreciative of our Attorney General.
This is unprecedented, and it's wrong. And the Speaker is doing this purely for political reasons.
Joining us now from the Capitol is Nick Carmia with more from today's events.
I'm standing just steps away from our Representative-elect Adelita Grijalva, and members of Arizona's congressional delegation demanded that House Speaker Mike Johnson swear her in immediately. Arizona officials certified her election results this week, but 3 weeks after her landslide win in the special election to fill her father's seat, she still hasn't taken the oath of office. Attorney General Chris Mays is now threatening legal action against Johnson, and Democrats are arguing Southern Arizona is being left without a voice in Congress. In Washington, Nick Carmia, Cronkite News.
Speaker Johnson has insisted that he will not seek Grijalva while the House is out of session.
Meanwhile, Johnson said today that the Pentagon has begun using reallocated funds to pay the troops during the shutdown. He noted that this funding will run out if government does not reopen soon. Johnson also stood by his positions on health care and defense spending, saying that he will not agree to a vote until the shutdown has ended.
They'll get their check, thankfully, because President Trump has shown strong leadership. And under his direction, the Department of War has now redirected unspent funds to ensure that our troops are taken care of. And this is while Democrats are playing political games.
House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries also spoke today, saying Democrats will not vote to reopen the government until the House Republicans agree to negotiate on certain health care issues, namely Medicaid funding and Obamacare.
Charlie Kirk was posthumously awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom yesterday by President Trump on what would have been his 32nd birthday. The event took place at the White House, where Trump gave the Medal of Freedom to Kirk's widow, Erica Kirk, the two sharing remarks on Kirk's life in front of Kirk's close friends and GOP leadership. Kirk was shot and killed while speaking in Utah last month.
Today we're here to honor and remember a fearless warrior for liberty, beloved leader. We hold his memory in our hearts forever. Every single day of this administration, we will continue to carry out the mission for which he lived.
Charlie always admired your commitment to freedom, and that's something that both of you shared. So thank you.
Charlie Kirk is the first person to receive the Presidential Medal of Freedom in Trump's second term. The president has also discussed awarding the award to former New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani and Ben Carson, Trump's housing secretary, in his first term.
The Arizona Corporation Commission is considering increasing utility rates for two major Arizona energy companies, Tucson Electric and APS. This morning, Cronkite News reporter Kira Seepy spoke to frustrated Arizonans in front of the state capitol that said their families are already they're already paying too much to keep the lights on.
There was a lot of anger this morning as people shared the tough choices they face to pay for electricity.
A veteran of the United States who served in combat had to choose between food or air conditioning in an Arizona summer.
Arizona families say they are paying hundreds more a year in energy bills.
Enough is enough. Energy costs are too high for Arizona families.
Now they are demanding action as Arizona's energy companies continue asking for rate hikes.
Where does it end? Where does it stop?
Community advocates and candidates for the Arizona Corporation Commission accuse leaders of failing to protect ratepayers.
I mean, this is a very divided time in our country, but I think we're all agreed on this, that the current leadership is not working for Arizona.
Speakers say the Arizona Corporation Commission and the Salt River Project Board keep approving increases, even while utility companies report large profits. Arizona's largest utility, APS, says the increase is essential to cover the cost of delivering power to customers' homes and businesses. But two Democrats who announced they're running for the commission in 2026 aren't convinced.
So if you're tired of these politicians allowing your utility bills to skyrocket, it's simple. Vote them out. Get them out of there.
For Arizonans like Ricardo Reyes, the message is clear.
But you keep voting the same people who are rubber stamping these rate hikes every year. How does that make sense, Steve?
Thank you everyone for coming. As both the Tucson Electric APS rate cases come before the Corporation Commission, the Attorney General's office has opposed both, and there's still time for public comment. In the newsroom, Kira Sipi, Cronkite News.
Tempe Mayor Corey Woods is declaring a state of emergency after a powerful microburst ripped through the city on Monday. According to a press release from the city manager, the state of emergency declaration will help the city of Tempe move faster on cleanups and repairs. The storm left widespread damage to homes, trees, and businesses. Because of that storm, 9 apartment buildings and several homes are now unlivable, and emergency calls more than doubled. Now cleanup efforts are underway with help from the American Red Cross and county officials.
And US 60 has reopened after flash flooding shut down both directions near Globe and Miami over the weekend. The Gila County Sheriff's Office has ordered evacuations for some neighborhoods, but those were later downgraded. The rain caused broken water and sewer lines. This comes almost 3 weeks after a deadly flooding in the same area.
Coming up next, someone in Arizona got pretty wealthy overnight.
Yeah, that's right. If you played the lottery in Prescott Valley, make sure you check your ticket.
Absolutely.
And stay tuned after the break to find out just how much the winning ticket is worth for one lucky Arizonan.
Speaking of being lucky, our weather is looking way more calm than it did last week. Your 8-day forecast coming up.
When I was younger, there were no engineers around me, so I had to become my own role model. At ASU, I wasn't just learning to be an engineer, I was actually engineering. And graduating, I already had real-world jobs lined up. Before ASU, my goal was to be a strong, confident woman. And when I left, I became a strong, confident engineer.
The scientists and engineers that support the next mission to Mars could be in this class.
Getting a degree at ASU is a journey that can take you anywhere. Into a world of groundbreaking technology and renowned award-winning faculty. Professors who help you to impact the world. Whether you're on campus or at home, becoming your best starts with learning from the best.
Welcome back from the break. The remains of hostages in Gaza and prisoners in Israel continue to be exchanged as the two try to uphold a shaky ceasefire agreement. Hamas has claimed that all the hostages they can access have been given to Israel, with some remains not accessible without excavation efforts. But Israel has expressed frustration over the slowed release of all hostages and remains, telling the UN that the aid into the region will be reduced or even delayed. All hostages between the two countries that were supposed to be exchanged 72 hours after the ceasefire deal was agreed upon. Additionally, President Trump said today he is considering allowing Israeli forces to continue fighting in Gaza if Hamas does not uphold their end of the ceasefire agreement.
This morning, the Supreme Court heard arguments over a Louisiana case that changes the state's congressional map. The case started with the 2020 census when Louisiana drew a congressional map that included only one majority black district. Civil rights groups sued, claiming the map was gerrymandered and negatively impacted black voters. A key issue before the Supreme Court is whether this case shows that states should consider race when creating districts and whether this complies with Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. The timeline for the case is uncertain, but a ruling is likely to be expected in summer 2026.
Smucker's is suing Trader Joe's over what it claims is a copy of its Uncrustable sandwiches. The new Trader Joe's product is called Crustless Peanut Butter and Strawberry Jam Sandwiches. In the lawsuit, the J.M. Smucker Company claims that the product violates design and packaging trademarks. Smucker's wants Trader Joe's to stop making its product, along with giving all of its profits from the sales to their company. Trader Joe's has yet to respond to that lawsuit.
And the stock market is growing volatile as trade talks between the U.S. and China grow more intense. The tech-heavy Nasdaq saw fluctuations today and ended with a marginal gain. Yesterday, some of major indexes like the S&P 500 turned lower after President Trump accused China of a hostile act by not buying soybeans from U.S. farmers and threatened to end any cooking oil trade with the country. And if you recently played the lottery, check your ticket.
And that's because somebody in Arizona is now a multi-millionaire. The winning Mega Millions ticket was sold in Prescott Valley at a Circle K along State Route 69. That winning ticket is worth $2 million. Two people in Phoenix are also winners. One of those tickets worth $30,000 and another worth $20,000. There was no jackpot winner, so the Mega Millions prize rolls over and is now up to $625 million.
Turning now to the weather, is the worst of the rain behind us, hopefully?
Yeah, Kennedy Humble joins us from the Cronkite Weather Center with our forecast.
Yes, guys, it was quite the weather we had this weekend, but now looking forward, it's going to be a little bit more calm. We're going to start at 74 at around 7 p.m. this afternoon, and we're going to work our way all the way down to 69 at around 10 p.m. So looking at our lower temperatures for tomorrow, we're starting at 61 in Phoenix, 54 in Casa Grande, 55 in Tucson, and if we work our way up north, we're going to see 27 in Flagstaff and 28 in the Grand Canyon, which is well below freezing, so make sure to get your jackets out if you live up in those areas. For our high temperatures for tomorrow, we are looking at 80 degrees in Phoenix, 78 in Casa Grande, 78 in Tucson, and all the way up north, 58 in Flagstaff and 57 in the Grand Canyon. Now looking ahead for the rest of the nation, we can see that there are going to be some storms in the Midwest, but as we look over here, there's not going to be anything that is going to affect us for the rest of the week, which will be, again, a nice change from last weekend. And looking ahead for our 8-day forecast, again, we're going to see the 80s for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and throughout the rest of the week. As you can see, with the lows of around 60 to 65, which is around average, a little bit below average for the week in previous years. This is Kennedy Humble for the Cronkite Weather Center. Back to you.
Coming up next, an update from Sun Devil head coach Kenny Dillingham.
Yeah, after a tough game in Utah, what new challenges are the Sun Devils facing?
We couldn't finish in the red zone again, which was catastrophic.
Even more catastrophic, the amount of injuries piling up for the Sun Devils, who could be without even more. Next on Cronkite News.
I grew up in a small border town, and water was really important to us. Without enough water, we can't farm, we can't eat, we can't live. And the way we're doing it right now, straight up doesn't have a future. I went to ASU because this is a place where you solve problems. With vertical farming, we can grow the same amount of food with 95% less water than traditional farming. The work I'm doing at ASU is changing the way I look at the world.
3, 2, 1.
Coming up on the cut.
Coming up on the cut.
Coming up on the cut.
How students can build their broadcast journalism portfolio with opportunities to learn more about on-air reporting and studio production.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram at @thecut_network and on X at @CutASU.
The scientists and engineers that support the next mission to Mars could be in this class.
Getting a degree at ASU is a journey that can take you anywhere. Into a world of groundbreaking technology and renowned award-winning faculty. Professors who help you to impact the world. Whether you're on campus or at home, becoming your best starts with learning from the best.
Welcome to the Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Farah Bojalad. We begin tonight with the surprise that caught ASU football fans off guard. After what seemed like a normal week of practice, starting quarterback Sam Levitt was ruled out with a lower leg injury, eventually showing up to the game in Utah with a boot on his right foot. And while the news was a shock, Coach Kenny Dillingham offered insight on what happened leading up to the game.
I know people think like there's no gamesmanship here. This is just purely being honest. And sometimes when you're honest, people create fake things because sometimes honesty is just rare. So I think the fact that we're being honest with this situation is making people uncomfortable. The reality is he's day to day. We're going to find out when we move him around on Tuesday and Wednesday's practice if he's good enough to play on Saturdays. So
Levitt is trending towards suiting up this Saturday, but other Sun Devils are feeling the injury burn. Dillingham confirmed that both offensive linemen Ben Coleman and linebacker Zyrus Fiaseyu were lost for the rest of the season. Dillingham also mentioned that safety Xavion Alford would be out for significantly more time, as well as Kyson Brown. And injuries aren't the only thing the Sun Devils will look to bounce back from after they were washed away in Salt Lake City. With a couple of Big 12 heavyweights clashing in a rainstorm, both teams were looking for to further their hunt for a conference title. Cronkite News reporter Nate Mills was in Salt Lake City for the game.
Utah punished Arizona State 42-10 in Salt Lake City. Sorry, looks like I have to use my backup battery. Arizona State had to do the same with their quarterbacks, and despite a lightning delay before the game started, their offense had a low charge.
The Sun Devils put up less than 260 yards of offense with just one touchdown. Backup quarterback Jeff Sims started for an injured Sam Levitt and only threw for 124 yards on a 40% rate.
we couldn't finish in the red zone again, which was catastrophic. You had 3 drives versus a really good defense, and 2 of them go 14 or more plays. I would think we'd be okay, we're in this thing.
Utah's run game, led by quarterback Devin Dampier, trampled the ASU defense with over 270 rushing yards and 6 touchdowns. Dampier had 3 of them.
They just ran the ball right at us. I mean, I think they had, I don't know our first half stats, but it had to be at least 150 plus rushing yards in the first half. I mean, we couldn't stop them.
With ASU's postseason hopes on the ropes, a daunting challenge lies ahead in an undefeated Texas Tech who went on the road and pummeled the Utes.
They just outcoached us, outplayed us, absolutely whooped our butt. That's the hard part, is how do you get it out of your system? Right? And you better do it quick.
The Big 12 is a dog-eat-dog conference, and with a loss like this on the road, the Sun Devils are going to have to scratch and claw their way to a second consecutive championship. In Salt Lake City, Nate Mills, Cronkite News.
With the number 7th ranked Texas Tech coming to a town, a win against the Red Raiders would not only revive the Sun Devils' chances at getting to the conference championship, but also put them in the running for an at-large bid in the college football playoffs. The game is set to kick off at 1 p.m. at Mountain America Stadium this Saturday. And to another Arizona team that was without their starting quarterback this past weekend, the Cardinals traveled to play the Colts with Jacoby Brissett starting in place of an injured Kyler Murray. And while the Cardinals did not leave with a win, the team still took some positives away from the game.
We feel like, we're right there, but to get in the win column, we got to do a little bit more. But I am proud of them, the response, for the last couple games here and how those have went, going on the road to play a good team. I thought our response was the right response. There's no pointing blame. There's no finger pointing. Guys have good energy. They got good enthusiasm. They're continuing to play hard. We just got to get it turned.
The Mercury season ended with a sweep at the hands of the Aces in the WNBA Finals. And now the Suns will look to take over the basketball world in Phoenix after a successful preseason. They look to carry the momentum into the regular season. Last night's game ended the preseason for the Suns. The Phoenix went 3-1 after beating the Lakers twice and splitting 2 games against the Nets in China. The rookies are catching up to the quick expectations set by veterans Devin Booker and Dylan Brooks. First-year head coach Jordan Ott has his work cut out for him as he looks to make a playoff push with the team on its 3rd head coach in 3 seasons. The Suns will now have a week to prepare for their season opener before they take on the Sacramento Kings on Wednesday, October 22nd. And they recently found out that they will be without new addition Jalen Green for the first game as he is battling a hamstring injury. And now to Major League Baseball, where it was announced that the D-backs right fielder Corbin Carroll is one of the finalists for a Gold Glove. And on the playoff front, Arizona's division rival, the Los Angeles Dodgers, have taken a commanding 2-0 lead against the Milwaukee Brewers. Former Sun Devil baseball head coach Pat Murphy and his team face an uphill battle as they head back to Los Angeles, down 2 games in the best-of-7 series. Murphy, the Brewers manager, will look to get his first win on the road these playoffs after dropping both games against the Cubs. And that won't be an easy task for the Dodgers team that is a 3-1 at home this postseason. Games 3 and 4 are set for Thursday and Friday with a potential Game 5 on Saturday. That's it for the Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Farah Bojalid. Now back to Aiden and Emily at the desk.
Thanks, Farah. Coming up next, a new study found that Americans are expected to spend record-breaking money on Halloween this year.
Yeah, that's right, Emily. And if you're wondering what the most popular costume choice will be, well, we figured that out too.
Wow.
Stay tuned after the break to find out the top costumes for kids, adults, and pets.
Town, and water was really important to us. Without enough water, we can't farm, we can't eat, we can't live. And the way we're doing it right now, straight up doesn't have a future. I went to ASU because this is a place where you solve problems. With vertical farming, we can grow the same amount of food with 95% less water than traditional farming. The work I'm doing at ASU is changing the way I look at the world.
3, 2, 1.
Coming up on the cut.
Coming up on the cut.
Coming up on the cut. How students can build their broadcast journalism portfolio with opportunities to learn more about on-air reporting and studio production.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram at @thecut_network and on X at @CutASU.
The scientists and engineers that support the next mission to Mars could be in this class.
Getting a degree at ASU is a journey that can take you anywhere. Into a world of groundbreaking technology and renowned award-winning faculty. Professors who help you to impact the world. Whether you're on campus or at home, becoming your best starts with learning from the best.
Welcome back from the break. We have a little more than 2 weeks until the spookiest night of the year.
Yeah, that's right, Emily. Now, Americans typically spend big on Halloween, but this year they're spending even bigger. A new consumer report from the National Retail Federation found that Americans will spend an average of $114 per person this year.
Unbelievable.
The report also found that the top costume for kids will be none other than Spider-Man, with an expected 2.3 million people dressing up as the web slinger. The comic book hero is followed closely behind princesses, witches, and ghosts, and people aren't forgetting to include their pets in the costume fun. The most popular choice for pets? A pumpkin.
No surprise there. And speaking of pumpkins, a farmer from Wisconsin won the first place prize at the Pumpkin Weigh-Off in Stillwater, Minnesota. Jim Ford brought his 2,491-pound pumpkin to Minnesota's Stillwater Harvest Festival all the way from eastern Wisconsin. So how exactly was he able to grow such a huge pumpkin? Well, it might be best to leave the explanation to the expert himself.
It's just like a little baby. We don't want them too hot. We don't want them too cold. We want them just right. The trick is to get these things as healthy as you could, get them off to a fast start, and keep them as healthy as long as you could.
That's it for tonight's edition of Cronkite News. I'm Emily Fox-Millian.
I'm Aiden Blank. Thanks for joining us.